Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Cheryl. If you're new, welcome to the C Squad. Over here we cover all things transfer student and living your best life as an international student in the UK. So if you like the sound of that, then hit the subscribe button below, follow me on Instagram and join the fam. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining me again. So a few weeks ago, I did a video called What Computer Science is Really Like at Wits University, where I ran down all my first year courses, gave you guys some tips, told you what to expect, and you guys really seemed to enjoy that. So today I'm going to be doing a What Computer Science is Really Like at Sussex University, and I'm going to be running you guys through all my second year courses. If you guys haven't seen my video for advice for second year students, be sure to check that out. I will link it down below. It also has some really great tips on how to conquer second year, but today we're going to focus solely on computer science courses in second year. So computer science at Wits is quite different to how it is at Sussex. At Wits you do a lot more maths courses. At Sussex your courses have maths elements, but they are not like full dedicated courses on maths. But if you guys are also studying computer science at Wits, then this video will still be helpful because I do mention some courses that are quite similar to the courses that you do at Wits for computer science in second year. Just a little bit of a disclaimer: with everything that's happening in the world, our assessments for university are probably going to be a little bit different in the way that they're structured and the way that they are taught. Obviously, most universities are not going to be having in-person lectures, so just keep that in mind when I'm giving you guys advice and I'm telling you guys about your assessments. But let's get right into it. I will be reading some course descriptions off of my phone, but some of them are very long, so I'll just leave the link down in the description below for all of your second year courses at Sussex. So in both semesters you do 4 different courses. In semester 1 you cover databases, and this is quite similar to databases in second year at Wits, which I did manage to complete before I transferred. So this module provides an introduction to the concepts of database software, database design, management, and programming. So basically for databases you have 1-hour lectures twice a week and 1-hour tutorials once a week. So your tutorials are actually split into 2. For the first 4 weeks of the semester you are going to be having tutorials that are more focused on like database design and like conceptual databases, and then the next 5 weeks you're going to have tutorials that are based on programming. You also do 2 coursework pieces. The first one is more of like a report, I would say. Like it's more like questions that you need to answer. So it's conceptual database design. You draw diagrams, you answer questions, and most of that is based on your first set of tutorials, so the first 4 weeks of your tutorials. Then your second coursework is more on the programming of databases. So you're kind of given an instruction and then you have to code it. So for example, if I say to you, like you have a table full of names, surnames, and ages of people, and then I say to you, display only the ages of people whose first name starts with the letter A or something. So then you kind of just have to code that, and it just has to output the right thing. And obviously that would be based on your second set of tutorials, so the last 5 weeks of the semester. Your exam is kind of a combination of the 2 courseworks. You are just kind of answering questions, you're doing diagrams, a lot of theory stuff. I can't actually remember if there was any coding in the exam, and if there was, I don't think it has to be like perfect syntax, perfect code, but I genuinely don't remember. I have very bad memory. But yeah, that's pretty much what your exam will be. As far as I know, your courseworks count 50%, so your first one will be 25%, the second one will be 25%, and then your exam will be 50% of your grade. Just some general tips for databases: go to tutorials. Go to your tutorials. I know the first 4 weeks of the tutorials, they kind of like a little bit boring a little bit, but pretty much what you cover there is literally what's going to be in the exam. It's what's going to be in the coursework, so you should go to those. Also, the programming tutorials are really helpful so that you can basically practice, because pretty much what's in your tutorials for the programming section of databases is what's going to be in your coursework too. So go ahead and do that. I didn't really go to all my lectures for databases, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think you really actually need to be there. I think the slides are perfectly fine. Obviously, we probably won't have in-person lectures, so you will have to watch your lectures and stuff. I would say watch them, but I do think like when it comes to studying and it comes to doing the coursework, the slides are pretty good, or at least they were when I was doing it. Also, I'd like to say that the coursework pieces I didn't find to be too difficult. That might also be because I had already done it at FITS, so I was just kind of repeating the same course. I would just say, don't like procrastinate it. Just kind of get it over and done with. It's really one of those things where if you buckle down and you do it like in a number of days and you just spend a number of hours on it, you will definitely be able to finish it, and it should be a course that you'll be able to pass. I wouldn't say it was one of the hard courses in semester 1. So another course that you study in second year is program analysis, which is pretty much what the name describes. It's just analyzing programs and like your best and worst cases. So obviously if you did like data structures and algorithms, you would have learned about like your best case and your worst case, so you kind of do that in this. Then you also have graphs, so you will cover depth first search again and breadth first search again as well. And you just have general problem kind of solving things. So yeah, you just kind of have different problems that you need to solve. Now pretty much your exam and both of your courseworks are just problem solving, maths and algorithms. So you need to be able to look at pseudocode and be able to predict what it's going to output. That is probably like one of the main things, because there are a lot of questions about that, so you really need to know that. Another thing is when you're doing a lot of the graphs and a lot of the problems and stuff, you actually really need to be in class. Obviously, I know they're gonna do this differently now because of the situation, but it's not one of those courses where you can just read over the slides, guys. Like, you actually need to look at the lectures. For us, we had to actually go to the lectures because Kingsley, who taught the course, would actually like write on the board, and obviously like when you have a recorded lecture, it doesn't show you what's being written on the board. So yeah, it's a lot of like literally like graphs, diagrams, and that kind of thing, so you actually need to be there to see what's happening. It's also one of those courses that's a bit of a struggle. It is 2-hour lectures and they are twice a week. It's a lot, guys. But as far as I remember, I don't believe we had tutorials for program analysis. I think if you needed any help, you would just go for your PAL sessions, which is peer assisted learning. So then just some general tips. Not gonna lie, program analysis coursework is long. Like, it just is long, and I don't know if it was long for me because I don't know, maybe I'm just not that smart. Like, I would say program analysis coursework was just longer than database coursework, so you probably want to start early on that. It's not something that you would want to do last minute. It is also one of the only courses that does a written submission and stuff, so I think you can type if you want to, but I think it's much easier to write it. I don't know if they're still going to have it handed in written form or online, but that's what we had. Another thing is to know network flows. Listen to these words carefully. Network flows, okay guys? It will save you in the exam, because in the exam I think it was like at least 20 marks. It was actually like a lot of marks. Even in one of the courseworks, it was a lot of marks. So the best thing you can ever do in this course is know network flows. So then we have natural language engineering. In this module, you are introduced to techniques and concepts involved in the analyzing of text by machine, with particular emphasis on various practical applications that this technology drives. So yeah, obviously if you guys want specifics, it will all be linked down below so you can read the full description. So for this course, you have to be able to code in Python. I know like the first lab was like an intro to Python as well, so it did kind of cover a bit of it, but I would say you have like a month before class starts. I would just say learn the basics of Python, not anything too crazy, just learn, you know, how to do the syntax, how to do if statements, for loops in that language. Like, just kind of brush up on it and just look at it. So one thing with NLE is that you have a lot of tutorials. I know like in the first 4 weeks you would have like lab 1, but lab 1 would be divided into lab 1.1 and then lab 1.2, and maybe in your tutorial you would only be able to finish like one of the labs, so you're spending, if you're even lucky to finish one part of the labs, but you're pretty much spending a lot of time outside of the labs. Like, this is when I say, like, I used to sit in the labs on a Friday night and be like pulling all-nighters just so I could do like the NLE things. Because the thing about it is, if you're not able to do the labs, you will not be able to do the coursework. So labs need to be done. I know at some point people complained and said that the labs were just too long, so they ended up reducing it to just one part in the lab. So you would just have lab 4 and it wouldn't be lab 4.1, 4.2, but still do the labs. And then in this course, you actually don't have an exam. You have 3 courseworks. I believe the first 2 count 25% each, and then the last one counts 50%. Each coursework is based on different sections that you've learned. So maybe the first coursework will be based on labs 1 to 3, and then the second one will be based on labs 4 to 6 or something like that. You also have 2-hour lectures twice a week, but if I'm not mistaken, what would kind of happen is your lecturer would teach like in the first hour, and then the last hour you would actually be able to like code and do your lab. Some general tips. Once again, the coursework is long for the subject. Like, it's really long, and it's even a little bit worse because obviously it's based on coding, and as I've said before, if your code is not outputting the right thing, you're literally just going to sit there until it outputs the correct thing. I would say especially the 3rd coursework is really long, and I believe it's actually due around the same time that you're writing exams. So for that, it would be beneficial for you to do it during your Christmas holidays. And I know that sucks, but I'm just saying, like, you don't want to pull a Cheryl, because I was having fun during Christmas break, guys. And then I got back to Sussex and I was in the labs every single day. And when you're also trying to juggle studying for databases and program analysis, like, it's just stressful to have to also do coursework. So try your hardest to at least do like 25% of it, 50% of it during the Christmas break. Then your last module in the first semester is compilers and computer architecture, which was the hardest course, I think, that semester. No, definitely, it was the hardest one. So an interesting thing about it is when you speak to your tutors and stuff, they'll all tell you, oh, like, it's very confusing the first few weeks, but after week 5 or 6, you'll start to understand it. I'm still waiting to understand it. Like, it just never clicked for me at any point. Like, I don't know what I was doing in that course. I really don't. So basically, this is one of those courses where you are coding, and the only things I remember from this course are lexing, parsing, and type checking. Oh, and code generators as well. This is not one of those courses where they teach you how to code. This course assumes that you are proficient in Java. So also, if you are not that great at Java, for example, like in first year, like, I only really coded, like, I spent majority of my time coding in C++, and I think I did a little bit of Java before I came to Sussex, but like not that much. It is very worth your while to just brush up on Java and just to kind of be as good as you can be in it before you start this course. So you have 2 courseworks. The first one is about lexing and parsing. I would say it's not extremely difficult. I think you can pass that one. An important thing that you need to remember about your courseworks is that they are marked like pretty much by a computer. So it's just going to give your code different tests, and your code needs to output the correct answer, and that's how you get your marks. It's not one of those courses where they'll look at your code and kind of try and gather what you meant. It's literally just, it's either right or it's wrong. So in that way, it's very similar to the first year courses at FITS, where it's just marked by a computer and test cases. And another thing with the coursework is that you'll have a coursework, but you'll have different tasks within that coursework, and each task will be worth a different percentage. So let's say task 1 will be worth 20%, task 2 will be worth 40%, and task 3 will be worth 40% as well. Then the second coursework was based on code generators. Guys, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I sat and I stared at it and I YouTubed it and I asked for help, and I still couldn't figure it out. It just was not working out for me. I actually didn't submit that assignment. I know, I'm just being honest with you guys as my subscribers, I didn't. And everyone that I knew that did the course, they did submit, but their code didn't compile, so they didn't get marks for it. That's another thing that you need to know. If your code does not compile, you will not get any marks. So yeah, I don't really have tips on you for that section. Maybe speak to someone who's actually done the course before and can help you. Also, it's due during your Christmas break, so you kind of need to do it while you're on holiday. So then the exam pretty much tests your knowledge and like theory stuff. The slides are king, guys. The slides are king. The slides are very detailed. That's one thing I'll say about this course, is that you don't really need to make notes of your own, because the slides are literally written in paragraphs, guys. Like, it literally has everything in there. So know your slides. And I also forgot to mention that you have 1 hour lectures twice a week. And my tip for this module is go to your tutorials, which I feel like is my tip for most modules. But for this one, seriously, go to your tutorials. Now moving into semester 2. Guys, semester 2 is a little bit of a mess for me because we had strikes for like 4 weeks. And in first semester we had a strike as well, but the only course that I had that was striking was compilers, whereas this semester I think I had 3 modules that were striking. So it was a bit of a struggle, and then obviously Miss Coco V came and disrupted my life. So there are going to be a lot of things here that I'm going to say that may have been changed because we had to get different extensions, some things got cancelled, topics we didn't even touch on because of the situation, so please bear with me. So the first module we're going to talk about is software engineering. So this course is taught by Kingsley, who also taught program analysis. I think he's a really good lecturer. I hope you guys also have him. You basically study large-scale software production, testing, and coding practice. So it is a lot of theory about how software engineering actually works at different companies. Once again, this is not a course that will teach you how to code. It assumes that you can already code. So going into the project, you can choose your own groups. Groups have to be between 4 to 6 people. It's better if there are at least like 5 people though, because then the work can kind of be divided better. If you don't really have like friends in your course or whatever, he does like random assignments as well, so people who don't have a group can just be randomly assigned to a group. So this project will just basically be you having to code something. So for example, we had to code a Monopoly game, and what happens is he kind of gives you like specifications and stuff. It's almost as if a company was coming to you and telling them what they want in the game and you having to do it. So there is a little bit of creative freedom because they're not like, this is exactly how it has to be, but you also have to adhere to the specifications. And it's not just about coding. There's also a large emphasis on documentation, and you guys will learn more about that in your lectures. So definitely make sure that you watch those or go to them. The documentation, I think, counts more in your project than the actual code, so documentation is king, guys. Also, it is 67% of your grade, and there is a peer review at the end of it, so You just kind of have to like ratio out the amount of work that each group member did. Your exam is obviously then going to be worth 33%, and it is literally based off of the slides. Lastly, you have 1-hour lectures twice a week and 1-hour tutorials once a week. Then we have operating systems. This module studies the system level structures that underpin operating systems and networks. The primary focus is on processes, showing how they contain dynamic threads and address spaces, and on understanding how both shared memory and messages can be used to communicate between processes. For those of you at bits in basic computer organization, you would have covered scheduling, and that is actually part of operating systems. Your first coursework is literally based on scheduling. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you about your second coursework because we never actually did it. It was just pretty much canceled because of the whole pandemic. Then for the exam, once again, the exam is literally based off the slides. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did go to my lectures for operating systems, but like I didn't go to like all of them, but the slides are pretty good. I did have to go back and watch some of the lectures because in this module you obviously have like processes and different like scheduling and things, and so you kind of have to see how you calculate that. I don't know how to explain this to you guys. It's so hard to explain a course to someone who hasn't done it. But yeah, so I did go back and watch like maybe 1 or 2 lectures if I needed clarification, because the slides were maybe not really clarifying it, but for the most part, like with the theory questions, they're all in the slides. And then my tip would be go to your tutorials, do your tutorials. I think my life would have been a little bit easier if I had done that. Then we have fundamentals of machine learning. So for this course, we had 2 different lecturers. So I think like the first few weeks we had one, and then the next few weeks we had another. I don't know why that was the case, but it was. Obviously, I feel like most computer science students know like what machine learning is about, but you pretty much just cover classification, regression, and different types of models. This module doesn't have an exam. It has 1 assignment or coursework that is worth your entire grade. Part of it is coding. I can't remember how much the coding part was worth, and then the other part is a report, documentation style kind of thing. So for the assignment, you need to know classification, you need to know perceptron, naive bias, which would be covered in NLE as well. If you have friends doing artificial intelligence, that's great because they would have covered this in another course, so they can pretty much kind of help you if you're not understanding certain concepts. You have 1-hour lectures twice a week, and some general tips would be to watch your lectures, do your tutorials, and also I feel like for me it was really helpful that I did a Udemy course on machine learning, because I think I mentioned this in another video, but in university a lot of things go quickly, and so kind of the fundamentals and the basics can be gone over in like a lecture or 2, and sometimes it's helpful to go back and like sit and go over the basics. So I will link Udemy in the description box below. Then we have computer networks, and I believe at FITS you actually do a computer networks course as well. So this module provides an introduction to the basics of packet switching technologies as used in the internet. Emphasis is placed on core internet protocols such as IP and TCP. I'm not gonna lie guys, this was a course that I didn't enjoy. I was pretty bored most of the time, and I think it's because I don't have an interest in computer networks, not even a little bit. This is another one where I felt like, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but the slides I felt were like a little bit all over the place, a little bit overwhelming, a little bit difficult to understand. So this is another course that I did on Udemy so that I could kind of get the fundamentals, because I felt like everything just went really fast and I was just lost. I was lost most of the time. So you have 2 courseworks. The first one will be based on IP and TCP, and the second one will be based on FTP. Major thing with this course is the internet is your friend, tutorials are your friends, PAL is your friend. Like literally get as much help as you can, unless you're just one of those people who just it clicks for them. it didn't click for me, but maybe it'll just click for you. And this is also another course where you have 1-hour lectures twice a week. So guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Good luck in your second year of computer science. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to join the C Squad, and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos. I post every Wednesday and Sunday at 5 p.m. London time. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!